At first glance, the human brain looks like nothing more than a wrinkled mass of gray tissue weighing just about 1.4 kilograms. Yet hidden inside this organ is the most complex structure in the known universe. It is the command center of our body and the seat of our mind, controlling movement, emotions, memory, language, imagination, and consciousness. Billions of neurons, trillions of connections. The brain is made up of around 86 billion neurons, each one a specialized cell capable of sending electrical impulses. But the real power of the brain lies in the connections. Each neuron can form thousands of synapses with others, creating trillions of pathways. This vast network is what allows us to learn, remember, feel, and create. If you imagined each neuron as a tiny light bulb, the human brain would shine brighter than any city on Earth. Yet all of this astonishing activity runs on only about 20 watts of energy, the same as a dim light bulb. The major parts of the brain is not one uniform structure. It is divided into different regions, each with specialized roles. The cerebrum, the largest part, split into two hemispheres, responsible for higher functions like reasoning, memory, speech, and voluntary movement. The cerebellum smaller, located at the back of the head, it coordinates balance, fine motor control, and complex movements. The brainstem, the most ancient part, controlling survival functions such as heartbeat, breathing, and reflexes. The lobes of the brain, the cerebrum itself is divided into 4 lobes. Frontal lobe responsible for planning, decision-making, personality, and voluntary motion. Parietal lobe processes sensory input like touch, pressure, and spatial orientation. Occipital lobe processes visual information. Temporal lobe controls hearing, memory, and emotional recognition. Neurons and synapses. The brain's electrical storm, every thought, movement, or feeling begins with a neuron firing an action potential, a tiny electrical pulse. When this pulse reaches the end of the neuron, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, or acetylcholine. These chemicals cross the synapse and influence the next neuron. This means the brain is both an electrical machine and a chemical laboratory, where impulses and molecules combine to produce mind and consciousness. Energy demands. Though it represents only about 2% of body weight, the brain consumes around 20% of the body's total energy. Without a constant supply of glucose and oxygen, neurons begin to die within minutes. That's why even a short interruption of blood flow can cause unconsciousness or permanent brain damage. Evolutionary masterpiece over millions of years, the human brain has grown from a simple reptilian brain, which controlled only survival functions, into a sophisticated organ capable of art, philosophy, technology, and science. It is the tool through which humanity has shaped the world, and yet it remains one of the greatest mysteries of all. From sensations to reality, every second, the human brain is bombarded with billions of signals from the outside world. The colors we see, the sounds we hear, the smells around us, the textures we touch. But we are not aware of all of it. Instead, the brain acts as a filtering system, selecting what is relevant for survival and discarding the rest. Eyes detect light waves and send electrical signals to the occipital lobe, where they are reconstructed into an image. Ears pick up vibrations in the air, and the temporal lobe interprets them as sound. Skin registers temperature, pressure, and pain, feeding this data to the parietal lobe. The miracle is that the brain integrates all these signals into a single unified experience of reality. But it's not an exact copy of the outside world, it's a reconstruction. In other words, what you see or hear is the brain's best guess at what's out there. Memory. The library of life memory is not a single system, but a collection of different processes. Sensory memory holds impressions of sights and sounds for a fraction of a second. Short-term memory can hold about 7 items for seconds to minutes. Long-term memory stores facts, skills, and life experiences for years or even a lifetime. The hippocampus plays a crucial role in transferring new experiences into long-term storage. Without it, we would live only in the present moment. Famous medical cases have shown that damage to the hippocampus erases the ability to form new memories while preserving old ones. What's fascinating is that memories are not stored as video files. They are scattered across different parts of the brain. A smell can bring back childhood. A song can unlock forgotten feelings, because memory is like a mosaic of associations. Emotions. The chemistry of the mind. Emotions are not vague feelings, but hardwired survival tools. Fear activates the amygdala, preparing us to fight or flee. Happiness and motivation are linked to dopamine, the brain's reward molecule. Sadness and depression often involve reduced levels of serotonin. Even decisions we think are rational are often colored by emotions. The brain doesn't separate logic from feelings. It blends them to guide our choices. Consciousness. The greatest mystery. Perhaps the most puzzling function of the brain is consciousness, the feeling of being aware, the sense of self. How can electrochemical signals give rise to subjective experience? This is known as the hard problem of consciousness. Some theories suggest consciousness arises when information flows through highly interconnected networks. Others argue that it might be a fundamental property of the universe, much like gravity or time. What is certain is that without the brain, there is no I. Damage to specific brain regions can alter personality, remove memories, or even erase self-awareness, showing how deeply our identity is tied to the physical organ inside our skull. Learning and neuroplasticity, the brain is not fixed. It constantly rewires itself, a property known as neuroplasticity. When we practice a skill, neurons strengthen their connections. Musicians show enlarged brain regions for fine motor skills. London taxi drivers develop a larger hippocampus due to navigating the city's complex streets. This means the brain is like a living map that redraws itself based on our experiences. Even in old age, new neurons can form and new connections can grow, proving that learning never truly stops. The survival brain. Extreme situations when humans face danger, the brain instantly switches to survival mode. The amygdala sounds the alarm, the hypothalamus activates the adrenal glands, and the bloodstream floods with adrenaline and cortisol. Heart rate accelerates, pupils dilate, muscles are primed. This fight-or-flight response can give us almost superhuman speed and strength. But survival mode comes at a cost. While short bursts of stress can save lives, chronic stress damages the hippocampus, impairs memory, weakens the immune system, and can even shrink parts of the brain. The limits of the human brain. Despite its brilliance, the brain has strict limits. Short-term memory can juggle only about 7 items at once. That's why long strings of numbers or names quickly overwhelm us. Perceptual limits. We see only a narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum and hear only a slice of possible sound frequencies. Cognitive biases, shortcuts in decision-making that can lead to mistakes, prejudices, and false memories. The brain doesn't deliver an objective picture of reality. Instead, it creates a useful, filtered version that prioritizes survival over accuracy. Disorders of the mind. When the brain's delicate systems malfunction, the consequences are profound. Alzheimer's disease gradually erases memory, language, and identity itself. Parkinson's disease destroys dopamine-producing neurons, leading to tremors and loss of motor control. Epilepsy unleashes uncontrolled storms of electrical activity. Depression and anxiety distort chemistry, plunging millions into mental illness. These conditions remind us that the mind is not separate from biology. Alter the brain, and you alter the person. The sleeping brain. Regeneration and dreams during sleep, the brain is far from idle. It cleans itself, consolidates memories, and recharges. In deep sleep, synapses reset and strengthen. In REM sleep, the brain generates vivid dreams, sometimes bizarre, sometimes meaningful. Dreams may serve as emotional therapy, as problem-solving rehearsals, or simply as the brain's way of integrating new information. Without sleep, cognition collapses, attention wanes, memory falters, and even personality begins to break down. Creativity and imagination, the brain's genius lies not only in survival but also in creation. Creativity arises when networks across the frontal and temporal lobes interact, blending logic with memory and emotion. That's why insights often appear in moments of relaxation, in the shower, on a walk, or drifting to sleep. Human imagination has built civilizations, invented science, composed symphonies, and reached for the stars. All of it starts as a spark inside neurons. The social brain. Humans are not solitary creatures. Our brains evolved for connection. Mirror neurons let us feel empathy by simulating others' emotions. Language allows us to share symbols and build culture. Our ability to cooperate, plan, and transmit knowledge is why Homo sapiens, not stronger animals, came to dominate Earth. Technology and the brain's future. Modern science is racing to unlock the brain's secrets. MRI scans reveal which regions activate during thought, speech, or emotion. Artificial intelligence borrows ideas from neural networks to replicate aspects of human thinking. Brain-computer interfaces (BCI) let paralyzed patients move robotic arms or type messages with pure thought. In the future, we may be able to record and replay memories, treat mental illness with precision, or even merge our minds with machines. Some visionaries imagine uploading consciousness into computers, though others warn that the essence of being human may be inseparable from biology. The ultimate paradox. The greatest mystery is this: the human brain is both the tool of understanding and the object of its own study. It is the organ that explores the cosmos, invents science, and writes poetry. Yet it is also the cosmos within, a galaxy of neurons still largely unexplored. The brain is at once our greatest strength and our deepest enigma. It is the reason we can ask, "Who are we?" and the only thing capable of answering,